Hey Sonia, my name is Christian Ostmo, and this audit is going to walk you through some weaknesses of your website and, kind of how, what you can change going forward. I know you said that you were brand new, but anyway, just for background, I've been a web designer for about a decade. I currently call London home, but I grew up in the tech world of Silicon Valley. I specialize in something called conversion rate optimization, which basically means that I build websites that sell better, get more subscribers, and gather more leads, etc. I'm not here to comment on how good or bad your design is because those are subjective. Some people might think this is good, that's good. It's not really important. But what I will do is use my data-driven knowledge, my experience, to tell you what sells and what doesn't, what attracts people and what doesn't. You said you wanted to monetize. In order to monetize, you're going to need email subscribers and things like that. So, without going too much into it, let's go ahead and get started. I know you said that you are just getting started, so that's totally cool. I'm just going to help you out, kind of starting out going forward. The first thing that I noticed right away is that there is no call to action. Now, I know this is a personal blog, so I mean, you can do whatever you want if you don't really care if people read it. I know a lot of people blog and they don't care if people read it, and that's totally cool. If that's your aim, that's your aim. Totally fine. But if you do want to eventually monetize and you do want people to read it, follow my suggestions, and that will help. So the first thing is your website is. Let me take a screenshot of this. I use my iPad here because I can kind of draw on it. So basically, what happens when somebody gets to a website for the first time, they are naturally drawn, and this is just because of the way that we write and read, they're naturally drawn from left to right and from top to bottom. And so what your website should do is naturally draw people in that direction. And you should have something called a call to action, a button, or something that gets them to do something right here. So if you take a look at one of my websites, this one for example, let's go to. This is something that I'm working on right here. You'll see right here. Let me just give you the screenshot again. You have a compelling. This is the first thing that you'll notice about my websites. It's that you have something right here that is compelling. This tells the reader, the viewer, everything that they need to know about my website. Share your best, gain from the best. This is something that's compelling. It's just a tagline, obviously, but where the magic really comes in is where they say the best skill swapping tool for the lean entrepreneur. This right here tells the customer exactly why they're supposed to be there, and it tells them why they're there rather than somewhere else, because it's the best skill swapping tool for the lean entrepreneur, etc. That is the compelling reason that they're there. Naturally, just like I said, it moves from left to right and it moves from top to bottom. And then there is a call to action right there. This is what people click on, and I'll tell you something like for this one in particular, the beta, if I were to go to, let me show you a different example of this. This one's really similar, but it's just the kind of the sign up page for something that doesn't actually exist yet, a project. People will click, about 90% of the time, people will click on this button right here. And that's exactly what they want. We want them to do. Now, it's not, when you have an email address there, that 90% drops a lot. It's not going to be 90%, but it's still pretty significant. So the idea here is you're giving them something compelling. You're giving it to them from left to right and top to bottom. And then as soon as they've gotten through there, they've had their compelling reason. They know exactly what it is. And you hit them with a call to action right there. And statistically speaking, this is the formula for keeping them on your site, for getting them to do something that you want them to do. And that's kind of the objective, is you want them to do something. Never be afraid to ask them to do something. The other thing that's important is to keep something. This is called the fold. Whatever you can see, this whole thing, whatever you can see when you first get to the website is called the website fold. Now, what you want to do, a lot of people will have just like, I don't know, one image that's kind of the same all across here. And that's all right, depending on what you want. I mean, it's okay. But what you really want to do, let me erase some of this. What you really want to do is have something below it. This line should not happen at the fold. This should happen right here. And this might be a little bit exaggerated where it comes here. Usually it's going to be like right about here. But there should be something in this section that is compelling. That's like let me switch back over to your website. So if I was to go here, oops. What I would really like to see on your website is, this is good right here, traveling far to discover what's near. What's so near? You know what? I just got that. That's so funny. So far, your name's Sonia, right? Sonia. That's clever. Anyway, so basically what I would like to see, this is fine right here, but what I would like to see is maybe a background image, to be specific here, a background image, and then have some text right here. Text right here. This is something compelling. You can say, I don't know, like, obviously this is really cliche, but like the best blog from New York, or something. Tell them exactly, you tell your potential reader here exactly who you are and why they should be there, and then put a button right here, or start collecting emails right away. That's cool too. Depends. And you say, start reading, or if you want to collect an email, you can give somebody a free guide. That's a really good way to get emails. Is say, enter your email here for your free guide around New York City, or something like that. Something along those lines. That's a really good way to do it. Okay, so let's continue. It's great that you get into the content right away. I mean, that's totally cool. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to get into like good or bad design. I think you have really beautiful pictures. There are probably some things that you could improve about the design itself, but again, that's totally up to you. Yeah, so join our mailing list. Here's one thing. Here's a problem that I have. First of all, this obviously should not take up this entire thing. If you are going to have a sidebar, put it in the sidebar. You don't need this to be all blank. There should be something here if it's, whatever. The second thing is, you have not given me a reason why I should join your mailing list right here. This shouldn't just be, nobody's ever going to do this. Nobody will ever put their email. I mean, you might get, your mom might put her email in there. You need to give me a really good reason to put my email address in there, my first name. It just looks cheap when you don't. And that's not to insult you. A lot of people do this, but it never works. And the reason is because you haven't given me a good reason. Now, what would be a great way is if you were going to give me something. Give me something of value. Say, in exchange for your email, or enter your email to get a free guide of New York City, or a free guide of, I don't know, what are the other places you went to? I think I saw like Montreal. Oh, no. Yeah, Montreal, that's what it was. Free guide to Montreal, or the world's best guide to Montreal. Say, enter your email right here and get the best guide, and download. It can be a digital thing. It's something you create, something that looks nice, something of real value that doesn't actually cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything, not just the viewer. And so Europe, North America. This is all pretty basic. But yeah, so that's something going forward. Whenever you ask for someone's email, give them something in return. Don't just say, enter your email here. And never say, like, so you never miss out on a post. Yeah, of course. You haven't given me a reason why I care about missing out on a post. And again, that's not to insult you. That is completely just reality. Yeah, okay. So that looks good. It looks all right. You've got blog posts. This is a beautiful picture, by the way. I love it. Yeah, next thing. New Orleans is awesome. I love it. Oh, wait. New Orleans, New 40s. Okay, so that's basically the aesthetics section of this audit. My biggest takeaway here is give me a compelling reason. Give me some reason why I'm here right away, right at the very beginning. And then hit me with a call to action, and give me a reason why I would click this. What do you need done? Let me go back to this one. Get free access. That's a reason. That's a call to action. And by the way, this goes to a sign-up form for a project that I'm working on. So this right here, the best skill swapping tool. That's what it is. That's clear. This right here is the call to action that I hit you with. And again, around 90% of people hit that button. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who hits that button is going to actually sign up to get free access to the closed beta, but they are going to, a good number of them. Okay, so that's the aesthetic section of this. The main thing is just call to action and everything. Now is kind of the technical bit. Basically, I test your load time, and this is where it gets a little bit complicated, but you do need to pay attention if you want to move forward faster. I test this from New York City. I saw that you're in New York, so I assume that New York is going to be the most important place to test this from. I did take a screenshot of this. Let's see. I assume that New York is the most important place to test from. And what I got was a result of 3.35 seconds. This means that this is the amount of time that it actually took your website to load. Now, it should not ever be above 2 seconds. And I'll tell you why. But first of all, I want to tell you that this is only where I tested from New York. It's probably worse in other places around the world. And I don't know exactly where your readers are, but I tested with New York because that's where you are. And so if you have a lot of readers on the West Coast or around the world, I have readers from all over the world. I think that I would say about 50% come from the United States, maybe about 20% come from the UK, and then I get a lot scattered throughout Europe, Australia, and Asia, just all over the world. And I imagine that your readers are coming from roughly the same places because it is a travel blog, and you are talking about India, and even if they are English-speaking people, they're probably travelers who are in those parts of the world. Okay, so that said, your load time in New York is 3.35 seconds. Let me test it in other parts of the world. So if I were to take it in Stockholm, Sweden, let's see, this might take a second. Yeah, it's running the test. See, significantly worse. This right here is really, really bad, 5.21 seconds. As soon as you hit 3 seconds, 40% of the people who've gotten to your website are already gone. They could not wait more than 3 seconds for your content to load. That's a big problem. And as soon as you go above 3 seconds, it gets worse and worse. Now, as soon as you get above 2 seconds, you are above Google's stated threshold, which means that Google is marking you down points in terms of your Google search ranking. So, which means that you're getting, over time, you're getting less traffic. And in this, I know you're just starting out, so for the first maybe few months that you have a blog, I don't know how long you've had this, but for the first few months that you've had a blog, it's better to start with for something simple and bad, because probably no one's going to look at your blog anyway. But as soon as you start getting any sort of traffic, you need to change this because this compounds on itself. Now, my biggest suggestions are, here's and this is where it gets complicated. I know that you use WordPress in your website, but there are two different types of WordPress. What you're using is called WordPress.com. Here, let me just type this up here. There are two types of WordPress, WordPress.com and WordPress.org. And they are actually two completely different things. WordPress.com will host your website on their own servers. And I don't know how much they cost because I don't use them. I guess it says tons of features from $4 a month. See plans. Personal is $4 per month. Okay, it's cheap. That's great. Basically, what WordPress.com does is they will host your website and you build it out yourself and everything. But the problem is that WordPress.com hosting is really, really slow. And so because, let me get back to here. Because of how slow it is costing you here, which means that it's costing you traffic. And it's costing you potential readers who are actually making it to your website. And so my biggest suggestion to you would be, and this is tough, I know, it makes it more complicated. WordPress.com is not a good solution. WordPress.org is different. Basically, the difference here is that you can host yourself. So when I say host yourself, I mean like you find a host online. It gets more expensive this way, it gets more complicated this way, but trust me when I tell you that it's better for your blog's future, for the development. Basically that's it. The hosting on WordPress.com is really rubbish. The host WordPress.org is a lot more flexible, so you can choose what kind of hosting you want. I can make you a suggestion if you don't want to. If you don't want to get anything, if you don't want to make anything more complicated than it has to be, you can get these guys. They are really fast. They'll host your website, your WordPress.org website, which is self-hosted, and it's basically the same thing as WordPress.com, except you're more free, because you can install your own software, your own themes, and you can host with whoever you want. Please ask me if that didn't make sense, because it is a little bit tricky, and some people understand right away, some people don't get it, and that's totally fine. But please just ask me if you have any questions about that. I can for my own clients, I also host their websites, and I have wicked fast hosting. So but the problem is that this is really expensive. So you're looking at like $29 a month per website. So it gets expensive. Mine's a little bit cheaper, but it's still also expensive. So WordPress.com right there. Another suggestion I have to make your website faster is to do create or install something called the CDN. No, it's not Cloudflare. That's what I was trying to remember. Is Cloud something? Cloudflare. Cloudflare is free. I know that I can use it. I don't actually know if you can use it on a WordPress.com site, because WordPress.com hosts your website. I assume if there is some way to change DNS records that you can do that. Maybe I can look a little bit more into that if you want to go that route, and maybe get a little bit more information for you. But I'm not totally sure. Basically, what a CDN is they host your static content around the world on different servers. That'll be your images, your JavaScript and CSS files, and it just makes things a bit easier. A bit faster for everything. Okay, moving on. So CDN, I would suggest WordPress.org over WordPress.com. Your website can look exactly the same, but you just have more flexibility. Let's see. That will improve your load time right here. Oh, the next thing is page size, 3.4 megabytes. This is not very good. Let me go back to this. When I talk about that, we are talking about this right here. Load size 3.4. I try to keep that under 1 megabyte. 3.4 is quite high, and that will contribute to your load time. So if you can get this down, you can probably get this down. Maybe not quite to what you need it to be, but it can go down. And the way that you're going to do that is by decreasing the size of your images. Now, your images appear to be too big. I don't know exactly how big each of them are, but they appear to be too big. And one really common way to get those shrunk down is to decrease the pixel density. Basically, when you print an image, you're going to be printing it at 300 ppi, which is just like the resolution. It's the number of pixels per square inch. But if you put it on a website, the website or the computer, the screen that you're looking at it on, can't actually render it at higher than 72 ppi, which means that you can create a much smaller image that doesn't actually reduce the quality, not the visual quality anyway. and you can make these images a lot smaller. If you're using WordPress.org rather than WordPress.com, also you can install plugins that will automatically compress your images and optimize them for the best use. That will decrease your page size. Yeah. Okay. Next section here is the kind of the SEO test. This is basically going to tell you, give you little details about how Google kind of sees your site. This will take just a second. I'm going to go just start scrolling through this. Meta description, this is just the description of your website. Apparently yours doesn't have one, which is a problem. Header tags, you have, great. Keyword consistency, this is an SEO metric. Basically, if you have a certain word that you're trying to rank for, excuse me, if you have a certain word or phrase or something that you're trying to rank for, you should be repeating it throughout all of your content, which apparently you're not. That's what this means right here. Keyword consistency. Amount of content. You don't have a lot of content on your website. The obvious solution to this is to write more content that goes on your homepage. This is going to give Google more room to work with. This right here is a big problem, and it's an easy one to fix. So if this is image alt attributes right here is what I'm talking about. This is basically an alt attribute. It stands for alternate. It's basically if your images don't show up, what will show up is this alt tags in its place. So if this is, excuse me, it's getting late. Where was I? The alt attributes. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's not a huge issue because only one of them is missing the attribute. My mistake. It would be a big problem if all of them were missing, but it looks like you are only missing one, so that's totally fine. Just keep in mind when you're looking at your images that Google kind of expects to see those. Now your backlinks, I don't expect you to have any backlinks because you said you're brand new. This is going to be the biggest factor in deciding kind of your off-page SEO is what it's called. The best way to get backlinks is to get featured on different websites around the world, and you can expect Google to kind of rank you higher as you get more and higher quality backlinks. I don't know if you've looked at SEO before, but this is probably the first thing that people talk about. There are a lot of people online trying to sell you backlinks and that sort of stuff. Don't believe them; they're totally rubbish. And focus your efforts on creating great content, and the backlinks will follow. If you can get featured in a big magazine or something like that, that's great also. But yeah, these are really important. I don't know how WordPress.com works. Robots.txt and the XML sitemaps. These are basically how Google finds content on your website, and so they're very, very important. I don't know exactly how WordPress.com works, but WordPress.org, you can install a plugin. You can just Google WordPress XML Sitemap plugin, and it will add it automatically, and then you can submit it to Google. There's no need to work too hard or fuss about that. But it is very, very important because without an XML sitemap, Google does not know where your pages are or how important they are, that sort of thing. Analytics. I would suggest that you use Google Analytics. Google sees that you're not using them, and they will, kind of hit you, subtract points from you for not doing that. And it's just kind of important anyway to just keep track of who's coming to your website. Yeah, your website looks all right on the phone and tablet. I'm using a tablet right now, so I should know. Tap target sizing. I don't think this is that important, so I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so this is where you're going to get into a lot of trouble. And this comes down again to WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. And again, if you have questions about what those are, please just tell me, because if you don't understand those, then none of the rest of this will make sense. Basically, your server response, 3 seconds, is absolutely horrible. This is like pretty much the worst score you can get. What this means is that as soon as I tried, or as soon as the server tried to reach the server that your website is on, it took 3 seconds to get anything back, which is really bad, which probably means that WordPress's servers are kind of asleep, and they don't really get woken up until somebody tries to get content from the website. Excuse me. From there, it did not take long for like the website to load. 4.7 seconds. But 4.7 seconds is a problem because, like I said before, as soon as you hit 3 seconds, 40% of your traffic is gone. As soon as you hit 2 seconds, you've gone over Google's threshold. And if you're not getting any response until 3 seconds, you're definitely in deep trouble. Some browsers will probably not even show your content. They'll just say it's a broken website, and so that's a problem. Likewise, this is a problem. I don't think I need to explain why. It's for all the same reasons I just described. Okay. Page size info. This isn't, as you can see, this isn't that big. It's in the yellow rather than the red, but you have no excuses for being that big because you don't have a lot of content. If you had, like big galleries or something like that, then this would be acceptable. But because you only have a few images and a little bit of text, you should have it. It should definitely be under one megabyte. So there's really no excuse for that number. And again, how you reduce that is going to be by reducing the image sizes and by compressing images and by minifying your JavaScript and CSS code, and that's going to help you monumentally in terms of your traffic and in terms of your conversion rate. Like we've talked about before, this is actually what I was just talking about. Optimizing images. You want to compress your images for better performance on your website, and you want to minify your code. So what this means, and I don't expect you to understand this, but basically what this means is you have code, JavaScript and CSS, which take up a lot of space. Now, by deleting all the spaces in the code, you can decrease the file size so that your website loads faster. That's what minification is, and some websites do that automatically, some WordPress themes. But most of them probably cost money, the ones that do that, and so because it's complicated, but it's totally worth it because it speeds up your website. And let's see next. Oops. I'm not that concerned with your Facebook, social media, but it looks like you're saying 101.1 million or whatever. That's probably because it's like WordPress or something and not actually you. Let's see. Oh. Okay, I would definitely suggest fixing those at the very least. Fixing these links. Let's see. Okay, so that one works. Good. I assume the Instagram works because that's how I found you. Yeah, so the Facebook is the only one that's not working. Make sure to fix that for sure. Let's see. Let me check. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is really important. Now, SSL is... it's basically just security. It encrypts the data that's passed between the client and the website, or the viewer and the website. This is what I'm talking about right here. Now, what SSL is I'll get back to this in a second. If you take a look at my website, this is my company website, by the way, osmosislabs.com. You will notice, I love these pictures, screenshots. You will notice this. It's a green lock and HTTPS. That is what SSL is. And this didn't used to be that important unless you were like an online store, but now it really is. What's happening is Google sees that you're not secure, and they take points away in terms of your SEO, which means that over time you're getting less traffic, and that's compounded as time goes by. So if Google is like, I don't know, excluding 3 people from you a day now because of it, 3 years from now that will be compounded to 300 or 1,000 or more. So I definitely suggest getting SSL. And let me show you what that looks like. So right here, I can see that you do not have SSL. You can, let's see, and this is similar to SSL, which is something that you need. Let's see, WordPress. I'm going to see if I can actually get that on WordPress.com. WordPress.com SSL. So this is WordPress.com. This is your host and everything. Strong encryption is critical to ensure privacy. Blah blah blah. We automatically install SSL certificates and let's encrypt. I don't know, this seems to indicate that it does it automatically for WordPress. So I would definitely contact WordPress about that and say, how do I get this SSL? It looks like they use something called Let's Encrypt, which means it's free. So if there's anything that you do, you should definitely contact WordPress and say, hey, where's my SSL? I figure out. Let's see. Actually, do you know what? I can check right here. Oh no. So you don't have any type of SSL. I would assume that. I can check to see if there's anything there by doing this. Nope, not at all. Okay, so you've got nothing. Cool. So yeah, definitely get in contact with WordPress.com or because that's really important in the future. At some point in the future, it's rumored that Google Chrome will not even allow you to get to the website unless you have SSL, or they'll make you go through some sort of process, like you have to say, are you sure this website is not secure? Are you sure you want to go to it? And that will kill your viewership. So that's getting more and more important by the day. Let me check and see if I missed anything. Hold on. Nope, so I guess that's it. Wasn't that fun? If you're not too insulted, you can check out my company's website. I already showed it to you. It's osmosislabs.com, spelled like that. All jokes aside, it's my kind of my criticism is nothing personal. I'm just helping you. I'm just trying to help you be better. So, I hope that you can take that on board. If you have any questions at all, feel free to just let me know. The takeaway from this, hopefully, that you got is that you need a website that's faster, which requires finding a new host. Again, my company hosts, but only for clients. So, yeah. So basically, find a faster host, but you're going to need to go with WordPress.org to do that. Get on a CDN, Content Display Network, and ask me if you have any questions specifically about that. Feel free to send me a message or whatever. I'm going to put this on YouTube. This is actually my second video that I've done, so you can ask me in the comments as well. Let's see. Yeah, CDN, SSL, and make sure that you compress the images. And again, about the visual stuff, don't forget this is a really big suggestion. Create something of value that you can give away for free in exchange for emails, and put it up here. Make your website really compelling, and I promise you that your subscribers will follow. So anyway, that said, yeah. No, sorry, I thought I had something else, but that really is it. Okay. Yeah, so this information is obviously yours for free. You can use it however you want, and I really, really hope that this by itself helps you. But I do get paid to help people take their websites to the next level. So if you feel like that's you, just get into contact with me, and that's totally cool. We can go from there. Yeah, but again, I really hope that this by itself helps you monumentally, and that you can that you can, what's it called? You can do all of this on your own. Yeah, let me know.